So obviously, as being a chamber of commerce, one of the key things that we're focused on is our business community. And with COVID and the stay home, stay safe orders, business we all know has been impacted in a big way. Just want to kind of get an understanding. What is the council looking at, and what ways are you working to help us make sure that our business communities thrive in the future?
Yeah, so the city is doing right now for small businesses everything that it can, but like the scope and the scale of the crisis we're facing is unbelievable. I mean, like we're facing like a Great Depression level, challenges that small businesses are facing, and our tools are fairly limited since we can't do direct gifts of public fund to businesses. One thing that we have been doing that's been really great are the Small Business Stabilization Fund grants that are, not loans, but just, grants where we, get $10,000 out the door to a small business to help. It's not a huge amount of money, but it can be, life or death to stabilize some of these businesses that are really getting hit. And I'm really proud that District 7 has received the second highest level of stabilization grants. And my office has been working really hard with people to try to help them get their applications through and get relief. District 7 has seen, we've done almost 500 grants. District 7 has received 131 of those grants. District 2 has received more than we have by 10. I think they're at like 140 or 141, 9 or 10 higher than we are. But otherwise, I mean, we're like District 7 has received more of these grants than like the next two highest districts combined. And Magnolia has received a couple of those grants in the first couple of rounds. Some of the small businesses, I wrote them down in anticipation of the meeting. MJOT Enterprises, the Blue Heron has received one of these grants. Chroma Works, Mystic Kombucha, Next Level Training Studio, French Mornings Preschool, which is sort of on the border, sort of in the Inner Bay area. That's great, but I know it's nowhere near the scope of the need of what businesses are currently experiencing. We've done 3 rounds of relief, and the relief can only come because it's our pass-through federal block grant money that we've been matching with private philanthropy. So our last round of 75 small business grants was entirely private philanthropy that the city was able to raise from big businesses. And we're hoping that if Congress can get its act together and send us a new relief bill, that we'll get more federal block grant money that we can pass through and keep funding. Because even though it's great that we've provided about 500 of these grants, we've received 9,000 applications. And of those 9,000 applications, based on the criteria that we've assessed, I think something like 6,000 are eligible. So, I mean, we are getting nowhere near meeting the purported demand of what people are requesting. The other day, working with a group of restaurants in District 7, I passed a bill to annul personal guarantee, or temporarily suspend, I think is a better term, personal guarantees in commercial leases. So we have a lot of small business owners that are getting, frankly, threatened right now by their commercial landlord, basically, demanding that they pay rent despite the moratorium on the rent, and saying that they'll invoke personal guarantees in their leases in order to go after the personal assets of the individual rather than the assets of the business to get back rent. A number of jurisdictions in California and New York City have passed similar ordinances. So I passed an ordinance to ban that practice. because, I mean, we're at the point where, I mean, a lot of folks are going to potentially be in a position where they're going to lose their business, they're going to go into bankruptcy. But the idea that on top of that, you would also lose like your house or your personal savings is appalling. So we're at least able to prevent that. We're expanding the amount of streetery permits so that restaurants can try to adapt and expand out into the public right away to have seating, so they can stay viable. And my office has been helping people to apply for streetery permits. So that's to say there's a lot of things that we're trying to do as a city. We're limited to in the extent to which the scale to which we can help, but we are there. It was great to see another round of state relief the other day that Governor Inslee announced. Hopefully there's going to be another federal package that comes in, and as it does, I'm going to try to blast it out and let folks in the district know how to apply, and my office will continue to help folks get their applications in and make sure they don't get lost in the shuffle and get that relief out.
Thank you. And then I guess one final question, one thing that we've been doing on each of these chamber chats is it's easy to get caught up in all the things that are happening in a negative way because of COVID and, recessions, things like that we're looking at the future. But one of the things we always like to wrap up with is, what ways are you hopeful? What do you look forward to in a positive way for the city of Seattle, for Magnolia, that we can all join you in being hopeful about?
Well, one thing I would say is I think that we have stood up a really good free, and actually I want to use this as an opportunity to plug this. The city, through our fire department, has set up a really excellent free testing resource for COVID. And I just wanted to let folks know, unfortunately, all the locations are fairly far away from Magnolia. But there's a location down in Soto. There's one up on Aurora in North Seattle. And those are both drive-in. So folks can drive there and do drive-through testing completely free. And then there's a Rainier Beach walk-in location where you can do a walk-in free COVID test. It's just a marvelous feat of logistics on the part of Chief Scoggins and his team to be able to stand that up. I have a lot of respect and appreciation for Chief Scoggins' service and in being able to make that happen. So I mean that was just inspiring to see the city really rise to the occasion on that and scale up testing so that people can go and on demand be able to see like, do I have COVID? Do I need to self quarantine? I think it's just also been good to see that the city of Seattle, I mean, even though I'll go out in public and see that people aren't wearing a mask or whatever, but that generally Seattle has been a pretty good city for observing and responding to guidance from public health experts, telling us to wear masks, to stay inside if we don't have to go out, to maintain social distancing. It really has, I think, been helpful. To flattening the curve in the spring and to lowering the amount of transmission below what it might have been otherwise. And it's just good to see the people of Seattle really stepping up in really what is a patriotic moment to observe public health practices that are essential to not make sure that the people who we know and love, who are more vulnerable to this illness, contract it and suffer, and in some cases die from it. And to see that that's not the case in every city, and that we are in a lot of ways setting a standard for it, has been really inspirational. So, we're going to come out on the other side of this, and we have a lot of really big challenges, but I think it's just important to keep stock of the duties that all of us have in this moment. It really is, this pandemic really is a situation where every individual is a leader in modeling responsible citizenship. When you put on a mask, when you maintain social distancing, And people should be really proud in Seattle and how we've really stepped up to that occasion. So that makes me feel optimistic.
Well, Andrew, we want to thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for representing our district, Magnolia. And from the Chamber of Commerce here in Magnolia, we just want to say thank you for all that you're doing and for being available to us. So we appreciate your time.
Well, and stay in touch. I am happy to make myself available to the Magnolia Chamber anytime. Actually, I would be remiss if I didn't plug one more thing, because this has been dear to my heart since I was a candidate. Is the community centers in District 7, including Magnolia's. I have an update. I might be breaking news here, but there is a plan starting in Q2 of 2021, and we should work together maybe to get more information on this. But in January, I went to the Parks Department and said, I want plans to get the Magnolia and the Queen Anne community centers rolling and rebuilt or retrofitted or improved to maintain programming and capacity. And I have heard from the Parks Department through our work on this that we have got a tentative start date of Q2 of 2021 to make some significant upgrades to the Magnolia Community Center. It'll probably involve the center being closed for 9 to 12 months. So we're going to have to work together on some mitigation plans around that. But I think that we could be in a position where we get turf fields, where we get expanded opportunities for programming, where we get updated, multimedia options there. So I look forward. It's still early, so we should get together and work together a little on this. But I think that's going to be a great opportunity, and it's really going to be a great asset for the Magnolia neighborhood. So I was really excited to get that information and to be able to share that here.
That is exciting to hear.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you again. We appreciate your time.
All right. Hey, guys, thank you so much.
All right. Bye.